Hi everybody, good morning. Meteorologist Travis Klineski here on this Tuesday morning, looking ahead to a better day of temperatures today, although not this morning. It's a cold morning. Most of us are in the single digits in teens. We've already got a few clouds around, more than being projected here on Futurecast. Thickest clouds are up north, but we've got even a few clouds here into central and eastern Nebraska this morning. We'll see a gradual increase in clouds as the day goes on. I think more sun the farther south you go. Winds kind of southerly right in here. There's a little bit of a cold front right here. I didn't draw it in today here just due to lack of time, but the winds will turn northwesterly behind that front, and they'll be a little bit breezy out there this afternoon. Overnight tonight, still some of those clouds around. The other thing I'll mention actually about today first, backing this up here. Now, again, notice the snow up in the Dakotas. Most of that will stay to our north, but we may get a glancing shot of just some light snow or flurries in far northern Nebraska today. And then this evening, I'll advance this a little farther forward, eastern Nebraska, including maybe around Lincoln, Fremont, Omaha, a small chance of some light snow. And then back to the northwest, maybe a little light snow as well. But then eventually skies clearing up as the night wears on. So most of us will be clear tomorrow morning, maybe a couple of clouds up to the north here. Winds out of the west and southwest to start tomorrow. That'll change, though, as another frontal boundary moves in later in the day. It's still going to be fairly mild for most of us tomorrow, but watch the wind shift in the afternoon. Northwesterly winds coming in later in the day, and those winds will be blowing pretty good out there. We're probably talking gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour, so a somewhat windy day across the area. Should see mostly sunny skies much of the day, maybe a few clouds coming as the day wears on, but these clouds don't look to be terribly thick. Then we'll see more clouds tomorrow night, becoming partly cloudy, and cooler temperatures working their way on Thursday, just ahead of the big plunge in temperatures Thursday night and into Friday. Looking at your temperatures for today, better than yesterday. We do get a bit of a warm up out there, even the northeast. 30s here, northeast, low and mid 50s southwest, 40s right in between. So seasonable in here, above average everywhere else. Looking at closer towns around the area here, we'll start you off to the northwest around 39 later today around Valentine, 41 for Merriman. Maybe only 34 in Spencer. Again, thicker clouds here. Maybe a little light snow. Better here farther south. 45 Brewster, Taylor, 48 in Broken Bow, and Stapleton, 46 for Arthur. Southwest Nebraska could be in the low to mid 50s right in here. More sunshine. I think this is the area with the best chance of the most sunshine today. 47 for Holdridge, 46 for high around Kearney and Franklin, 47 for Smith Center, Kansas. East of there, we're going to be a little chillier. Highs in the mid to upper 30s around David City, 36, 37 for Wahoo. We'll go 40 for Crete, 44 in Hebron, 43 in Hastings, 41 in Grand Island and in St. Paul. And finally, northeastern areas, this is colder than everybody else, but still about a 10-degree improvement on yesterday. Yesterday it got up into the upper teens, mid to upper teens, hoping for upper 20s today around Ponca. Low 30s for Pender and Hardington, 34 for Norfolk, 39 in Fullerton, 40 degrees later today in Greeley. And again, watch for that light snow possible right in there. Looking at tonight, not as cold as we have had the last couple of nights. Mid to upper teens and low 20s for lows. Believe it or not, most of these temperatures are a little bit above average for this time of the year. Looking at tomorrow, still above average for most of us, into the 40s and even some lower 50s, but cooler 30s up north, and temperatures are going to get colder tomorrow night into Thursday morning. Lows down into the teens. Thursday, a chillier day. Highs in the 30s for most, with some 20s up north as the Arctic air gets set to push south fast. Look at Thursday night into Friday morning. Lows below zero for much of the area, maybe barely above zero in the far south and southwest. Could be in the teens below zero up north. Single digits below right in here, and this isn't even factoring in any wind chills in the teens below and maybe even 20s below zero Friday morning. Friday afternoon, not much of an improvement. Highs in the single digits, some near 10 in the southwest, maybe not even getting above zero in northeast Nebraska, maybe even O'Neill. We'll see. So it's going to be a frigid Friday. It's going to be another very cold night Friday night. Saturday only slightly improved. It does get better into next week. There are also going to be some minor chances of moisture worth watching Friday and Saturday. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Let's take a look at that extended forecast. Again, better today, slightly milder but windier tomorrow, especially in the afternoon. Those winds will crank up. Cooling back down closer to our average high on Thursday, and then we take the plunge. Thursday night through Saturday, Cold, cold, cold out there. Temperatures falling below zero, wind chills well below zero. A high struggling to 5 or 6 on Friday, mid-teens Saturday, better Sunday, but much better on Monday. Some minor snow worth mentioning on Friday and Saturday. I'll get into more of the details of that in just a bit. Taking a look at the long range, I'll tell you right now, long range forecast models are struggling with next week. They're kind of split whether or not we get another push of Arctic air later next week, or if we actually stay on the milder side of things. Our model's kind of doing the in-between thing, where it's kind of going between what both of the models are showing right now. Looking at the, my graphics got stuck here, so we'll wait just a second. There we go. Looking at the North Platte forecast. Today may be the best day of weather this week here. Tomorrow is slightly cooler, but windier is the problem. The winds are going to be noticeable out there tomorrow. Cooling down on Thursday, and then the plunge comes Thursday night into Friday morning, and it sticks around all the way through Saturday and Saturday night. Bitterly cold air there with slight warming on Sunday, and then a little bit better yet on Monday. And again, just like the Tri-Cities mentioned, the slight chances of snow both Friday and Saturday. I'll get into the details of that a little bit more in just a second here. But let's take a look at the long-range forecast. Temperatures do look to warm up early next week. Our in-house model is trying to go a little colder towards the Wednesday, Thursday time frame. Again, it's not set in stone right now. The European and the GFS and the Canadian models are all split on how next week plays out, whether we stay on the mild side or if we get colder once again. So our in-house model is kind of playing middle ground as of right now. So there are some question marks when it comes to next week. Now looking down the road, the end of January into early February, it looks like the tale of two seasons. Bitterly cold air in the east, very warm air out west, and we're kind of right in between here as it tries to warm up into early February. Moisture-wise, I don't see a ton of moisture in our future. Not a lot of great chances, especially towards the end of January and early February. Let's take a look at the European forecast model. Again, the snow today is going to mainly stay to our north, maybe just a little light snow in northern Nebraska. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Watch for maybe a little light snow in northeast Nebraska tomorrow afternoon, but most of us will miss out on that. Thursday, still dry as the colder air begins to plunge southward. Friday's when we start to get a little snow on that frontal boundary, but the better chances of snow will be to our south. Now, that said, the European model's trying to keep a little snow into Saturday, and then Sunday clearing on out of here with maybe a little snow still in the southeast on Sunday. I'm a little iffy on that. But then some sunshine Monday. Not much for moisture next week. Some very minimal chances, kind of like we've been seeing recently. GFS is different, though, as we get towards the long-range part of the forecast. The European's been more aggressive with snow on Friday to Saturday. Most of the other models are not. So again, there's our light snow chance in northern Nebraska today. Tomorrow, maybe a little bit in far northeast Nebraska. It'll be close there. Long range, Friday's when the next round of snow begins to develop as that cold front plunges south. But notice how GFS doesn't have as much snow for our area. It has everything to our south. In fact, look at all that. It's going to be a mess on the Gulf Coast with ice. Texas and Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. It's going to be a mess of weather there to the south compared to our area here. Let's go back to our neck of the woods, though. Oh, I'm going to have to go in and out of that graphic real quick to get my map to stay. So let's jump ahead to where we were. And again, this is Saturday. The chances of snow, very minor. Then we dry things out, try to warm up a little bit early next week. But no major weather threat coming anytime down the road here. Finally, let's wrap things up with temperatures as we've got cold air now over the eastern U.S. We're on the edge of it right now, but we'll try to warm up a little bit today and tomorrow. Then here comes chillier air Thursday, and here comes the plunge Thursday night into Friday. Bitterly cold air on the way. Still pretty cold, but trying to warm towards early next week. The European model wants to bring in another cold blast later next week, or at least a glancing shot of it. That's where the GFS and the European really differ, is next week. Here's the GFS. Again, we're chilly this morning. We're going to try to warm up a little bit today. Tomorrow's still somewhat mild, but then here comes the colder air. Cooler on Thursday, but then bitterly cold Thursday night into Friday. Staying cold for several days here, and then we try to warm up next week. And the GFS is trending a lot warmer than the European model is when we get into next week. So we're going to have to kind of play the waiting game to see how things play out when it comes to next week. So here are the big stories again over as we go through the next week or so ahead. Again, today and tomorrow are probably the best weather we see this week. Not ideal, but better. We're going to get a big cold plunge on Thursday night into Friday, and it's going to stick around into the weekend, and some very minor snow possible on Friday and Saturday. It doesn't look like anything major for our area. Well, with that, I'm going to thank you all for watching on this Tuesday morning. I'll be back with you on Wednesday with all the latest. Take care, and God bless. Bye.